What is going on for all my replay viewers? You already know the drill. You can still heart away, tap, tap, tap that screen. Greatly appreciated throughout for the information. You can also share this on Twitter, Instagram, or Twitter, Facebook, I believe. Hey, what's going on, Chelsea? How are you? For everybody that's just joining, what's up? It is, what time is it right now, guys? Around 8 o'clock. Just finished getting the dogs out for kind of like a little bit of a potty walk. They're chilling out here. Soko found that spot. Bentley's over there. Bella, where's Bell? Bella is over there. Just gonna have my coffee, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit up our first morning walk. We might hit the beach up. So we might do that later on. What I'm going to do is supposed to have a client in Miami. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I looked up the address and it's an hour and 40 minutes. And I really don't want to be that far away from these guys. I kind of want to stay within the area. Also met some people last night who were looking for some help. So we might do a beach session out there. But what I definitely want to do, no, they can't. I'm not that good of a dog trainer. I haven't taught that yet. I'm not sure that I would want to. It's like one of those things once you teach it, you're like, oh man, why did I do that? Like teaching my dog to jump into the pool instead of going politely in the stairs. He'll like jump in the pool from anywhere now. And he loves it. No, it's just, I really don't want to be that far away from these dogs. I want to spend time with them. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to go for a walk. Then we're going to hit up the beach, or just hit up the beach, a little off-leash fun. And then I really want to spend more time with Bentley. We're going to go for a bike ride along, I guess along the water. And from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them come to lunch or brunch, I guess, with me. And it's a really dog-friendly town. We'll have them hold a downstay, around the dogs and the kids and people that walk by, and just have them hang out, because that's really, really important. She can do it, just a little out of practice with that. Yeah, so that's it. Hey, Ann, how are you? So that's pretty much it. But because we have, I don't want to say lacking, but because no, you're going to be asking your questions here. Because I have been not lacking, but we haven't had Dog Behavior Question Tuesday episodes on our YouTube channel last Tuesday, and we're not going to have it this Tuesday due to my traveling. I made a promise to you guys that I was going to offer these Q&As here, so we're going to do a little question and answer here. So while I drink my coffee, if you guys have questions, we'll get right into it. You know, it's funny, I had a tripod and I don't know where it is. It's in my bag somewhere, but I'll set this up really quickly. That does the job. So if you guys have dog training questions, ask away. We'll get into one question, try to hold the other ones off while I'm answering that. That way, when I'm done, I can read and we can kind of go from there. I assume that when the hearts stop, that's because you guys are typing. All right. Other than that, I want to see that rainbow of hearts. What's up, King K9? How are you? Hey, what's up, Atosa? Oh, I'd imagine, man. It's probably really, really cold over there. It's cold here. It's cold here. Really cold here. For Florida, anyway. That's a great question. So I guess it's kind of like a trend, sort of. So the question is, do you correct for growls if dogs are passing? I think it depends on the growl. It depends on the stage where the dog is and what the dog knows, how the dog is doing it. Sometimes if a dog is a little bit nervous and growling and making a better choice, I might sort of be supportive of that. It's like, hey, no, you're good job, and maybe even give a reward depending. There are other times too where a dog growling is being a flat out jerk and a flat out douche and and the intention, the body language of the way that dog is growling, you are getting a correction. Because I see the way you're doing it, and I see what you think of the whole process when you're growling and the dog is kind of walking by thinking that if that dog would have got closer, I know what would happen, even if it was like polite. Now it's also a little bit different if a dog is used to, let's say, flat out attacking other dogs that walk by, and it's been reduced to a growl. And now I have to advocate a little bit more because it's used to dogs coming in strongly. And when it comes in strongly, nothing else works, so they snap. And now the dog is kind of growling and moving away. I'm going to support that because it's a step in the right direction. And I'm also going to interrupt and make sure that dog doesn't get in the way. You see what I mean? So it really depends. It's not as clean cut, which is also why I think it was on our Instagram page. I also posted a video showing Soko like baring his teeth and how it looked in photos, and saying how ridiculous it is to read an entire situation and an entire dog based off of a picture, and saying, oh, that dog is stressed, or oh, that dog is fearful, or look, that dog is aggressive, because like it looked really aggressive, and then I showed the video and they were just playing, like not even rough, just showing a little bit of teeth, but like on his back kind of playing. So like things can really easily get taken out of context, and so can the concept of like growling being a warning versus the attack, which you want to reward or is a good thing. I think it depends on the situation. So that's my answer for that. What other questions do we have, guys? I saw some things popping up, but I do want to be respectful because my mind rambles. So if I'm in the middle of a thought and then I start to read, I'll completely forget what I was doing before. What's the best way to stop people dog reactivity when walking your dog in busy streets? Okay, yeah, great question. I believe that controlling the head makes the most sense. So I'm also a firm believer, I don't care what you use or do to train your dog. Like if you're using a harness, awesome if it's working for you. But if you're struggling and your dog is like really disrespectful to you and like pulling on leash and doing an actness and totally disregarding leash pressure, what we need to work on is controlling the head so that the body follows, getting a dog to realize that the head goes first. So the first thing that I look to do, say this all the time, you have to get your dog sensitive on leash pressure, soft on leash pressure. In order to do that, you have to speak really clearly the direction, the height of your leash, all of that stuff. Okay, that's good, but what we have to do is we have to get him better. If he's still acting that way, he still thinks it's a choice. So this is where we have to look at things. It's like, if he knows this stuff really, really well, he either doesn't know it well enough and you think he knows it well, he really doesn't know it that well, or he thinks that he can do this until this happens. Now it's your job at that point to let him know, hey, you can't do this. So we have to look at a couple things. I think more often than not, it's a choice that dogs have become accustomed to. And it's like, hey, this is what I do. And no one's ever told them, no, you flat out don't do that with me. I know that's going to be a shocker for you, and I know that's going to be hard, but check out, once you make that choice, what you can do, and show them the alternative choice. So sometimes you have to be a little bit firmer. And if your dog already knows what to do, if you spent the time teaching what to do, now it's a matter of, you cannot make that choice, period. I'm not allowing you to, but check out what you can do. And that it's an attitude thing. It really, really is. It's like, I'm not letting you do that. So this means you have to have good timing. You have to speak really, really clear through the leash. Because if you have good timing and you're aware of when to intercept, as Sean O'Shea says, you're going after the fuse the moment the fuse is lit, not the explosion. Unfortunately, most people are trained thinking that the fuse is my version of the explosion. So I catch things early, sometimes before it even starts, to give that dog the cheat sheet to be successful. I'm setting them up with the blueprint or with the GPS map. I'm not telling them like they're all the way in the left lane and like being like that GPS. It is like in 50 feet or turn right here. And it's like you never had that information prior. So a mile back or you know, a half a mile back, I'm preparing you for what you should be doing, giving you a little bit of reminder. And every dog's different with how you do that, but that's how you have to start thinking. You have to set your dog up for success. What does your dog know best? You know, another thing that I really do is, and I spoke about point of tension, and I also spoke about where are you in the city? Are you in New York, back where we are? Well, I'm in Florida now, but you want to fall on the opposite side of the distraction. Oh, you're in LA. Well, get a hold of Sean O'Shea. He has a Periscope also, the good dog. There's also Brian Agnew, who's pretty good in that area. Those two people who I like how they handle themselves. Falling on the other side of the distraction, meaning you're not in between your dog and the distraction. If your dog is here, the distraction is here. You want to be on this side, so with the leash you can show the dog an alternative route, an alternative choice. Doing that instead of being in between, it's really hard for your dog to choose between distraction and you when you're both on this side. You're both right there, right? But if the distraction is here and you're telling me to focus on something here, I literally have to choose between one thing or the other. If a dog is reacting and acting silly going that way, you have to be mindful that it's the head that they want to focus. If you're getting the dog to go this way, you have to make sure, I've said this before, that the hips aren't allowed to face the distraction. You want, and that could be really soft and the dog understands. That could be like a dog that flat out ignores you in situations and is telling you, listen, I know what you're trying to say, but right now I'm telling you that I'm focusing on this. You got to counter that. Absolutely not. I just said don't do that, right? So you need to mean what you say. And this is my quote. You don't have to be mean, but you have to mean what you say. So if you're struggling in that situation, I would say work harder in all the areas that don't matter, that when you say something, you follow through. You always follow through. It doesn't matter, it almost doesn't matter how pretty or perfect it is with what you're trying to ask for, as long as what you say, you get it in the end, so a dog understands, oh, okay, like when they say something, this is what we do. It's not like, yeah, you say here, and I know to come to you, but if I really want to go smell that thing, you'll wait. Or if I really want to go get this, you'll allow it, because then a dog learns that they're not being bad. They just learn who you are and what you're about. That's it, you know? What other questions do we have, guys? Had a guest over. My dog was growling at her while on placed. Use Nope remote. Okay, anything else? It depends. So I actually know Muffin. With you're, and I hardly ever say this, you're the one person who's in a situation to actually be stronger. Setting yourself up with a leash, and it depends. You got to read him. So I know you've been making really good strides, and like it's awesome to see the progress. It's actually really cool. If you're noping and you're using a remote and you see an adjustment, beautiful. If he's thinking to try to do that again, you might want to be a little bit high. Hey, because this is for those of you that don't know, I've actually worked with Atossa, so we're at a point where she knows what to do. We're at a point where the dog has already learned and is very familiar with the tool. So one thing I always stress, if you guys are just getting into remote collar training, do not jump into corrections. Teach the dog what to do with low-level sensations way before you get into that stuff. Later on down the road, when you get here and the dog knows it, it's like, hey, what did I say? The dog knows the language. Like, enough. I just told you. Come on. Right? So that's different. Atossa had her issues with just him taking her seriously in some situations. So that's when she has to mean business. So if you're not seeing that switch, what you need to do is help with a little bit leash and a remote. And your mentality is you're going to end it. You're going to end that I'm ignoring you and I'm focusing on this. It's no, you're paying attention to me. I just told you, ignore it. Relax, please. And you see a switch. Then good. Chill out. The attitude is you're not allowed to act that way with me. So that's a situation where his growling, I absolutely correct. Other dogs are on the process of doing the right thing, and it's a good sign. Good job, hey, and I'll call them out, and I'll kind of ignore that growling. But usually stationary growling and stuff, and a dog that's not trying to avoid, that's being a jerk, yeah, I'm going to correct it. And that's my opinion. Some people might disagree, but everyone's always going to disagree. When to get a pup 7 or 8 weeks old? It's a good question. So Soko, let me show you this handsome, beautiful boy. We got him way too early. He wasn't a rescue by means of like, we didn't get him at a shelter, but like Lindsay got him. So my wife's hometown is like upstate New York. And when I say upstate, I don't mean Westchester. I don't mean Albany. I don't mean Syracuse. I mean 7 hours, like upstate New York. In Messina, New York, if we want to go to dinner, it's a 10 to 15 minute drive to go to dinner in Canada. like that's you can spit across the river, right? So out there, it's very, very loose. And when we first got him, it was one of her friends whose dog was always getting pregnant and had litters. And she was like, listen, we sold like two of them died. The mother abandoned them. The others are living outside under the porch. Do you want a dog? So it's kind of like a rescue if you think of it, because he literally probably was going to die. Yeah. But so we got him at like 5 weeks. This, like, the way people think of puppies that are like, oh, look at this puppy. That wasn't what he was like. He was like we thought something was wrong with him. I didn't meet him till 6 weeks, but I think 8 weeks is pretty common. And that's all kind of based on the breeders. Usually reputable breeders and stuff will, 8 weeks is I think the bare minimum. Because they also need like the mother's milk and that stuff, and Soko didn't get any of that, but he turned out all right. I don't know too much about that, but I do know that it's highly suggested like 8 weeks is bare minimum. Yeah, sometimes people even do it later. What other questions do we have, guys? I don't think it's the end of the world if you get it at 7 weeks, but you should try and stick to what they say. Working a 7-month-old that is nervous, seeing people even like 10 houses away under pressure and space. So define nervous. What do you mean by like nervous? What is that dog doing? It'll take a while to Okay. So this is the thing. This is kind of, I call this the firework scenario. Right? And you guys got to keep hearting, because sometimes when the hearts stop, I don't know if like I cut out, but when I see them, I know that we're kind of still going. Okay, so I call this the firework scenario. The reason I call it the firework scenario is because there's 2 ways to go about this. If you get the nervous kind of dog that shuts down, I look to teach that dog how to function and keep moving. If you get the dog that is scrambling to try to get away when they hear the thunder or the fireworks, I look to shut that dog down. Not like beat him down, like, oh my God, look how shut down that dog is. But I need to teach him how to do the opposite of what he's doing, right? So that's really, really important. He needs to learn how to hold a place, or she, after exercise, and not be pressured by people, right? So the people that you're going to work with needs to kind of be your friend, even if the dog doesn't know that, and just walk by at a greater proximity to try to help the dog to learn, oh, wow, that can happen and I can hold place, and then you reward. What I suggest is, I guess it's kind of like conditioning during feeding time. And this is assuming that you're already working the dog for their food. If you're not, talk with the clients, introduce them to that concept, and get them into the habit of understanding that the bowl doesn't come down free. The bowl doesn't come down when they're comfortable over here. We might put them in a closed environment, comfortable situation to get them to learn how to work for food for me. And when that's really, really good and they understand the concept, I'm going to take that concept and I'm going to bring it to outside. I'm not going to throw them in the middle of Times Square, but I am going to bring them outside or in an area where there's people, and this is how they eat. If they have a healthy appetite and they're not, there's nothing wrong with them, they're a healthy dog, they might miss a meal, but if they understand that they're not getting treats, they're not getting the bowl on the ground later, here and there, they might miss a meal. Eventually they go, whoa, wait a minute. First off, these people aren't bothering me. They're not even obnoxious. They're very quiet. They're walking by, at a greater proximity. Interesting. I focused so much on them that it wasn't a priority for me to eat. Maybe the fact that like these people aren't bothering me, I don't have to worry about them so much. Maybe I'll focus on eating, because eating is more important, especially if those people aren't coming to try to say hi, right? So that's the start. Learn how to function, learn how to hold a place, and learn how to focus on something else versus that. You have to eat. If you don't, that's fine. I'm not going to feel bad. We'll come to it at dinner time. If you don't eat at dinner time, we'll come to it at breakfast time. I'm not going to give you 5 opportunities. I'm going to give you twice a day. And we're going to work. And eventually, learning how to focus on a resource that is more of a necessity than people that aren't even bothering you is going to teach you how to do something, I guess, subliminally without you realizing it, is, holy cow, like I can focus on this. And that's the start. That's not like the finished product, but that's the start. Work from there, get that going, because that could take a little bit. And when you get good at that, then we'll proceed. And we'll go with the next Q&A that I have, okay? Give that a shot. What other questions do we have, guys? I would avoid kind of getting closer. You can do that. Build a food for the food drive first. That's important. What do you do when a dog is fed raw? It depends. You can do a couple things. So you can depends on the type of raw, you can freeze them and turn them into kibble. Another thing you can do is you can have kibble that you work a little bit, reduce the dog's raw, give the dog a little bit of kibble to get into that rhythm, and then kind of have a grand payoff at the end. So the grand payoff is, we do this a lot with dogs that come into our board and train program. Sometimes dogs come in and we don't have a specific food that they come on when they get here because we don't want to upset stomachs. So they come in on their food. The only thing that we look to do is switch their food if they're on something horrible, that the vet recommended, Hills or Science Diet. It's the worst food out there. I don't even understand. I know vets get paid to promote it, but I don't understand how today in 2016 they're still recommending that. It's the worst food out there. But anyway, what we'll do is they come in on their foods, so you got to figure it out, how to kind of work it, because this is the thing. People will ask, okay, well, what about my dog is really praise motivated or food or toy driven and stuff, and that's awesome for later on once a dog knows something. But when you need to practice repetitions, you need to do it and do it and do it and do it. It's really difficult to get a dog to drop a toy and really want it, but food is a necessity. So they get a couple kibble and they go, okay, what's next? Get a couple kibble, okay, what's next? And you can really, really work them. So I would suggest finding a kibble, getting them on that for a little bit, and then give them the grand payoff after working them for a little bit. Then you give them the rest of the raw food at the end, unless you want to get your hands messy. But it can be done. It can be done. What other questions do we have, guys? Hey, is Take the Lead Tori? I think it is. I'm not sure. There's so many different variations of canines that look the same. Hey, what's up? How are you? Not sure if you're just joining or you were in, and I know sometimes you have to rejoin and stuff, but what is up? We're just doing a little Q&A as I drink my coffee before we get started on a walk. I think I'm gonna take these guys straight to the beach. To the beach, boy. Oh, cool, okay. Dogs bark at every dog or person that walks by the house. Yes, great question. Okay. Prior to the dogs walking and barking by the, this is the thing that we got to look at. So more often than not, if the dogs are doing that, you're living a life where your structure allows them to be concerned. I'm going to simplify it. It's not difficult. Dogs that are allowed to do this all the time, allowed to do all that the time, that's what you want to start interrupting. So before the walking by the house and doing all this, we have to look at the bare essentials, the bare basics. What exactly? Always an alert. That's what you have to change. That's not a good thing, right? If I told you I'm really looking forward to long walks on the beach with these dogs right after this Periscope session, and I brought you guys in and I showed you, I said I enjoy long walks on the beach, and when you see me on the beach, you see me on the beach like this, and I'm looking around, you wouldn't be like, oh, look, he enjoys it. You'd be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so anxious? Chill out. Your dogs don't enjoy that. They're too alert. Concerned dogs are stressed dogs. When you're always concerned and you're always worried, that's a problem. So that's what we have to change. So we look at a couple things. Do your dogs know how to hold place? Do your dogs work on holding place? And when you're preparing their food, they're not like this all the time. Do you really make them wait when you come in through the door, or your husband or your roommate, whoever? I'm just giving examples. Come to the door. Do they know how to hold a place and not charge? If they don't know how to do that, and this is the big thing here, people will say, oh yeah, we can probably work on that, but we don't mind it. I get that they don't mind that. Well, the food is out. That's great. Well, food is always out. You want to change that. Stop leaving it up to them. You got to take more advantage. The more you control things, it doesn't put you in a place to be a dictator, but the more that you control things, the more a dog has reason to listen to you. The more you become, I call it the clock. When you become the clock in the relationship or the watch, the dog is always looking at you to see what time it is. That's what you want. Hey, what time? What should we be doing now? Wait, what time is it? Is it time to play? Oh, it's time to relax. Okay, cool. That's what you want. And your dog has no reason to do that if they have all the luxuries and freedoms with or without you. If food is there 24/7, no matter how they behave, what do they need to listen to you for? If you only try to give them direction when you need it, when you absolutely need it, but you let them do what they want here, here, and here, they're going to be like, well, you never really tell me what to do in the house. Like, why would I listen to you out here around the distraction? So you want to work on being more strict, not because you're being mean, because it's setting you up and it's setting them up to know how to do it. So going back to the door thing, so feed your dog twice a day and have that come from you, and learn how to do marker training. What I suggest, so we have on our YouTube channel, Dog Behavior Question Tuesday episodes. Go through those and see how we use our markers and how we feed, because I can't put it any other way. It's a game changer. It really, really is. But what I was going back to with the door is, a lot of people will say, oh, well, we really don't mind it. I understand that you don't mind that, but if you're not taking that easy situation as an opportunity to work on your dog learning how to do it, if they can't do it for something like that, they're never going to be able to do it for like alerts when a dog is going by or something like that. You know what I mean? Or like people walking by. So we have to, and I've said this on the last Periscope, you have to work on having your structure be nature's Xanax for your dogs. You have to learn at the structure that you provide, prepping you for the Jamaican on weed. You want your dogs to be no worries, man. Oh, cool. There's somebody. That's what you want. And then when it's time to play, it's time to play. But they don't determine that. If they're always here all the time, that's no way to live. It is no way to live, right? So it's very, very important. I'll take one or two more questions, guys, and then I'm going to hit the beach. It's cold, so I'm going to be in a hoodie. We might do a little Periscope, but it's time for some off-leash fun with these guys. Yeah, no problem. Dog growls randomly. If I don't interrupt, it escalates and gets worse, leading to angry barking. When is that happening? Explain the situation a little bit more. Growling like at a dog park, like on leash, like when is that happening? I'm in Florida till the 26th. I'm actually with my client dogs now. My clients get back on like the 23rd or 24th, and then I work with them for those days. The middle of the night and during the day, what, like in the house? Like off, like what is it growling at? I don't. Okay. Where do you live? We have a bull terrier. That makes sense. I'm just kidding. Where do you live? Like, is it a house? Okay, in Naples, Florida. That's interesting. If they're sleeping, I mean, sometimes they're doing that. You probably have a bit of a nervous dog, and we have to work on like confidence and kind of, if my dogs were growling randomly, especially at nothing, if your dog knows corrections by means of interrupting, I'm gonna use this type of correction to interrupt. Hey, and interrupt it every single time, interrupt it every single time, interrupt. And interruption could be what works for you and your dog, right? Moving forward from there, if it's still happening and I really know it's nothing, now this is becoming like, it could become an entertainment habit and all this. So I'm going to look at a couple of things. If it's becoming like an entertaining habit, or this is what the dog does, your dog might need a little bit more exercise, a little bit more structure from you, a little bit more fulfillment, so it doesn't feel like, it's really weird what dogs find to entertain and kind of soothe themselves, just kind of on their own. So I would look to exercise your dog a little bit more. I don't think that's the complete answer. Exercise by itself doesn't do that, but train your dogs and then use corrections to interrupt, right? Interrupt. And once that's known, you're always interrupting. Eventually it becomes, hey, knock it off. And then it could become stronger. If it's happening in the middle of the night, it's possible that it's like wind or something like that, but we have to get your dog over worrying over who knows what it's hearing. I have to look at a couple other things. How often is your dog or dogs out? How often are they out relaxing? Not just a quick walk in the backyard, or not just like a quick walk around the corner. Do they actually like enjoy being outside and hearing the wind and hearing the palm trees and stuff like that, because I'm willing to bet that that might open up not more doors, but get us to realize a little bit more of the roots of what's happening, and see how your dog handles that stuff. Because the dog growling randomly at nothing, usually there's a reason for it. And if it's such a subtle, soft thing that it appears like nothing, we probably have more of a nervous, kind of unsure dog, unsure of its surroundings. So it just needs a little bit more proper exposure. And that's a guess, because I don't know, but just coming like the way you're describing it, that's probably what we're looking at. All right. What other questions do we have? And give that a shot, and continue to join these Q&As and stuff, and see where it gets you, and we'll try to really get this solved for you. Okay. It's a little, sometimes these things are a little bit by bit process, so I don't want to give you an answer when I don't fully know, but I can give you some advice, test that out, see how that is, and then we'll go from there. All right. Where are we at for questions, guys? I'm almost done with my coffee, so it's almost beach time. Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. And then also check out our Instagram, our Facebook, our YouTube page, where we get a lot of other free information. It's a mini schnauzer, nips hands and arms when playing. What correction? What'd you say, 18 months? See, that's how, I'm such a bad reader. I don't know, like, I thought I did good in school. I would say that if you have a dog, 18 weeks. Oh, 18 weeks, okay. You don't really want to jump into corrections. You want to teach more what to do. One of the best forms of corrections. So this is the thing, like all these people that like think corrections are like a bad thing. In early stages, like a really, really strong, like powerful correction is just simply like negative punishment. Negative punishment is the removal of something. That's why it's negative. Negative is removing something to reduce or discourage a behavior from continuing. So what you want to do is you want to get into more controlling resources, atmosphere, food, play. Yeah, in a way, toys. And when something happens, nope. And if you're used to prior to that, so it's the removal of that, it's the total energy switch. If the dog is already used to sitting for food, working for food, and it's fun with puppies, you can really get them to understand, oh, when I do this, this is when I get the food. So they learn on and off without really realizing it. So when they learn that in order to get this food, sometimes I have to do this and this works, and all of a sudden you have the same body language where you say, nope. Yeah, but this is the thing though, if your dog keeps acting inappropriately and then you give it something else and you say good, it never got addressed. So, I mean, think of it from the dog's point of view. The dog is like, holy shit, every time like I nip at your like ankles and like your arms and stuff, that awesome toy comes out. Well, cha-ching, I'm going to keep doing that, right? If every time I realize that I didn't, that's a bad example. You just have to like really, if every time I realize that I ate food, I wasn't hungry after, cha-ching, well, I know how to prevent myself from being hungry. It's the same thing. So there has to be a switch or move. Hey, over there. And then show them like a place or show them how to sit and down and wait for a little bit. And then reward and give a toy for the changed or altered behavior. Good. There you go. Okay, now go play. So it has to be these energy switches. This is the thing though. Don't rely on the nope. Right? If the nope doesn't mean anything and the dog does it and you're just like, nope, and then you're giving it to the toy, nothing changed. There has to be some degree of consequence. And you're not going into like corrections or anything, but there has to be a switch where a dog realizes, oh, that didn't work, but I did this. So that's a timing issue. You have to really be aware that the nope isn't the magic wand. Don't just say it and go. Like I see all these people on the street, they have dogs that pull and they've never taught their dog heel. And I don't use the word heel, but it's just a word. And I see them say heel when the dog is pulling. The dog has never learned heel, never learned the physical behavior. And this poor dog, every time it's pulling on the leash, hears the word heel. And he's like, I'm healing. This is what heel is. Because he has no idea what it is, right? So you have to teach an effective nope. For me, in order to have an effective nope, What nope means as a marker is it means stop doing what you're about to do or you are doing. If you have really good timing, it's stop doing what you're about to do and go back to doing what you were doing. So to have a really effective nope, your dog had to have been successful doing the right thing prior. So you need to spend more time teaching the right thing. That way when the switch comes, your timing is right there. That's what you need to work on. It's actually that simple. Okay? We'll take one more question. Corrected for my dog growling, and he lunged at me, didn't bite, but there was mouthing. First of all, why are you even letting him mouth you? Yeah, no problem. No problem, Gracie. If your dog thinks that it's okay to redirect on you, there's a couple things that we have to look at. One, you're not really used to giving your dogs corrections or directions that matter at a time where he's really determined to do something else. Or two, your correction was unmerited and what's the word I'm looking for? And he's, oh man. So the first thing is, I want to word this right so it's clear. Your dog either doesn't get it enough, not corrections enough, but direction from you when it matters, or it kind of came out of nowhere and it wasn't clear, right? The dog was just like, whoa, what's that coming from? So usually that means that your dog has to take you a little bit seriously. The third thing is just, this is the first time that you've actually gotten through to your dog at a time where they're determined to do something else, and your dog is not used to you doing that. So he was like, hey, not while I'm in the middle of doing this, who are you to tell me what to do? So that's, we have to change the understanding of the relationship and where you fall and where you lie, right? You also have to really make sure that what you're doing is super, super clear. Yeah, absolutely. And if you're working it for food and you're nope and they're going into sit and you're doing that, they're understanding how to get food and they're understanding what doesn't get them food. So that's the negative punishment. You're removing something that's a negative punishment and then positive reinforcement. And you're just working those two things. That's it. Later on, you have negative reinforcement, and then you have positive punishment. A correction is actually positive punishment. You're adding something to reduce or discourage a behavior from happening. So if my dog lunges at your face and I add a leash pop or even a no, like firmly when I do that, me adding that to stop the behavior, that's what makes it positive punishment. So a lot of people don't know this. A lot of like positive only reinforcement trainers will also like think that like positive reinforcement is like good reinforcement, but that's not what it means at all. So like a correction is positive. A correction is positive punishment. You know what I mean? Shoot, I missed that point. But one more question. We'll do one more. What are your tips on keeping the patience? Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now. I am patient. Yeah, well, no, I appreciate it. So, okay, so Casey, I'm gonna answer that in just a question, just a second here. For those of you that are new and don't know me so much, or this is like your first scope or whatever, my name is Blake Rodriguez. I'm gonna pull a total Jeff Gelman here of solid canine, of dream come true canine. So the website is dctcanine.com. Madly in love with you guys. No, but Dream Come True Canine is the logo, is the company name. We're based out of New York City, Manhattan. I have a 2-floor facility out there. Where we're geared more toward pet dog training, and we work with a lot of problem dogs. That's what's kind of put us on the map. You know, I caught the eye of Cesar Millan a while ago, and I think I'm one of the 3 or 4 people on the East Coast that he refers clients to, which is pretty cool. So I've always kind of kept that on the hush with the type of clients, but a lot of people know that he does refer clients to me. So I'm actually pretty proud of that. Through like networks and seminars and stuff, that's kind of how I've continued to kind of grow and stuff and doing things with dogs that other people have failed. But it's more just real world dog training that we do. I'm currently in Florida right now, working with a specific client that flew me out to work with their dogs. I've worked with them before. And I also, while I'm here, work with clients in the area. So that's what I'm doing right now. But going into, before I even go into that, you can also learn more about like what we do and see the stuff. We have a really awesome Instagram page. If you guys are really, you like short 15-second videos and really nice pictures. I like to toot my own horn when it comes to the photos that I take because they're all taken with my iPhone. like nothing else. And I think I take some pretty kick-ass iPhone pictures. So we have an Instagram page, we have a Facebook page, we obviously have Periscope here, and we have YouTube. So if you really want to like check it out, like there's some awesome YouTube videos that we have that go way back. Yeah, check us out. Everything is Dream Come True Canine. In the event that you're struggling to find that, you can look up Blake Rodriguez. We also do Skype sessions. So while I've been here, I've been doing a lot of Skype sessions. I've done 3 so far. And these Skype sessions are from people from all over. I've worked with someone in Florida. I've worked with someone in, I think it was Minnesota, and then Chelsea yesterday. Where are you? In Rochester, right? So we're all over. We're doing it up. Going into this question though, how do I stay patient when working with these dogs? This is important. That's not New York, homegirl. That's Rochester. That's very different, all right? New York is like New York City, all right? But I'm gonna fill you guys in on a little bit of a secret. I am patient with the dogs for selfish reasons, right? I honestly think that the people that have the patience are the ones that put up with their dog's behavior for years, or for the dog's life in its entirety, right? I will be extremely patient and hardworking to put in the work to get the results that I need, so that down the road I don't have to. It's just ingrained. And whatever like structure and stuff that I give, it's pretty easy. The dog knows it, I know it, and it's kind of second nature. That's actually what fuels me. I'm going to bust my ass now, because down the road, I'm going to have that dog that's just like Old Faithful, just chills out, and I don't have to worry about anything. So that's my motivation. It's selfish, but I think it's awesome. It's the same thing with anything else. Why do I go to the gym? I go to the gym because I want a beach body. You know what I mean? Why do I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Because it's an awesome workout, and I want to know, I'm not going out searching for fights, but I want to know, God forbid something happens, I can handle myself aside from like the scraps that I've gotten into growing up as a kid and like playing hockey. I take it to another level, right? That way I can actually be humble and not look for stuff and know if shit hits the fan, I'm good, right? So there's always a reason. There's always like a selfish reason for like doing something. Why do I help and give all this free advice? Like I'm going to seem like a jerk, because it also helps me. All the free advice that I give here on Facebook, on Instagram, on Periscope, on YouTube, it comes back. Our name gets out there. We get Skype sessions out of it. I get flown places to work with clients. I'll be in like, so I don't know if Hugh's on here, but we have a client from Hong Kong that was just like a dude that watched our videos, our Facebook pages, commented on Facebook and stuff. We did a couple Skype sessions, and I thought nothing of it. You're in Hong Kong, man. I'm going to help you out. Next thing I know, he's like, this has been so great. Like, I'm flying you out. So in February, I'm going to Hong Kong, and this is through free information that I've given. So it's a give and take relationship. You know what I mean? It puts the company name on the map. It's branding, and I'm also able to help people that I might not ever get to, or might not ever get to me, and it's just awesome. I enjoy it. You know what I mean? So it always works both ways, and that's it. And being patient and working, it's a win-win. And working hard with your dog to do what you need to do pays off, because you get to enjoy your dog more. You get to do more down the road. You know what I mean? Like, you get to include them in more situations that you probably couldn't if you didn't train them, because your dog is great, but they're obnoxious. Every single conversation starts off with, my dog is so great. Oh my God, she's an angel. But, so we're the butt trainers, because we're looking to fix the butts. Why have butts? There's no reason for it. I mean, I like big butts, and I cannot lie, but when we're talking about training, like, there's no reason for the butts. You want to fix the butts. I don't want the dog that's great but, or until she sees the squirrel, or unless people are around. I don't want that dog. I want the dog that's great, especially when. You know what I mean? Especially when I'm eating a greasy cheeseburger and I want to bring you, but I don't have to worry about you trying to jump up on me for the food, or begging or whining or jumping up on the waitress, or loving dogs so much that you can't hold it down without me having to tie your leash up, because if you see another dog, you're gonna lose your mind. That's not fun for me. So I'm gonna train so that you know when it's time to play, when it's time to chill, and I can actually bring you into civilization, right? Because now you're man's best friend. Now I can actually enjoy life with you, versus having the relationship with my dog where I can take you on a walk early morning or late evening to avoid stuff. And I can bring you to the dog park where you go bananas, and I can leave you home and in the backyard, because if I try to do anything else with you in my real world, which is more of where I live my life, I can't bring you because you don't know how to act. That's like having your friends from the hood. Like, I mean, like my friends from, like, they'll always be my brothers. I love them. This is a great example. So I have two friends, and I give this example from time to time. I have two types of friends, right? I have my Italian Irish friend Vincent from the neighborhood. Love him to bits and pieces. He's the best. He will always be my brother. His family is my family, and vice versa. But I'm very limited on where I can go and the things I can do with him, right? If he's gonna want to fight me, I'm not making this up if he hears this, but this is deep into the Periscope, so if he's watching it, he probably didn't get this far into it. But I have him, and I can hang out in the neighborhood. I can hang out with the family. We can go to the beach and do things like that. But I can't bring him around like high-end clients or go to high-end dinners or do something on the other side of like my professional world, because he only knows how to act one way. And he's matured a bit, so like we can do a little bit more. But it kind of sucks because he's my friend and I love him, and I wish I could do more with him. Then I have my good friend Tristan, who we went to the same junior high. He's a year ahead of me. We went to the same high school. We went to the same college, right? So we can party. Like, he's my college friend. We were in the same fraternity. Like, we have a blast, but he's also like someone who I can bring around high-end clients. We can go to like fancy dinners, and we can also hit up the block and be goofballs, right? For me, I think you have a choice that you make. You have really two choices. You can have the dog that is like Vinny, or you can have the dog that's like Tristan. I'm going to choose the latter every single time, because if I can do more with my dog, because he knows how to act based on the settings, based on the scenarios, why wouldn't I want that? Right? So that's what I strive for with my client dogs, and that's what I strive for with my dogs. It's pretty much that simple. We'll do another Periscope Q&A later on today. I'm going to take Bentley and Soko to lunch, and we'll just show you on the strip on Atlantic Avenue, which is super, super busy. We'll show you how we do it. All right, I'll make sure to bring my tripod too. Hopefully that makes sense. I would imagine that all of you guys that have dogs want Tristans, right? Yeah. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to shower. I'm going to try to look a little bit presentable. Maybe wear this, because if I have dogs that are behaving, I don't want to look like a bum. I might wear exactly the same thing, so then just shower and feel better. But we're going to hit the beach up, and then we're going to grab some food. Yes, see you in a few weeks. All right, guys. Later, guys. See you on the next Periscope. I'm going to do another one later on today, I promise. Hope so.